My next guest is retiring this fall after a 43-year career in Fort Wayne arts and culture. From performing on stage with the Philharmonic to helping transform the Arts United Center and Arts Campus into regional cultural destinations, his fingerprints are on many of the projects that have reshaped downtown Fort Wayne. He is Dan Ross, and as he prepares to retire as CEO of Arts United, we want to take a moment to celebrate a career that has helped define the role of arts and culture in our community. Dan, welcome to the 260, sir.
Thank you very much.
Not bad for a horn player.
Yeah, that is true. It's been a while, but yes.
Yeah. Did you ever imagine your career trajectory going the way it has?
That is such a great question, and no, I did not. And it is interesting when you get to be a certain age and you kind of look back at the path that you traveled and just think, this has been a really interesting path, and I feel very fortunate to have had the opportunities to do the things that I've done. But no, never anticipated when I was studying the trumpet back at Indiana University where that would lead.
Yeah, and did you, you were in administration at the Philharmonic for a lot of years too, right? So was that the first step out away from being a musician?
Yeah, absolutely. So I moved to Fort Wayne in 1983 to play trumpet for the Philharmonic, but in 1989 I joined the staff of the Philharmonic as orchestra personnel manager and started to see the role of the Philharmonic in the community as more than that, and the ways that the Philharmonic serves the community through its education programs and all of the ways that it embraces community activities. And then as I moved to Arts United, I really started to expand upon that idea of just how arts and culture really helps impact this community, both in the lives of the individuals, but also in the economic development as a driver of attracting talent, attracting businesses to our community. You need to have a vibrant arts and cultural scene to make that happen. And so it's just, for me, it's been an interesting sort of transition of my own personal recognition of the roles and the opportunities that I've had.
Yeah, so for those who might not know, explain what Arts United represents in the community.
Yeah, so Arts United was founded, originally we were called the Fine Arts Foundation. Back in the 50s, this community made the decision that we need an organization that helps support arts and culture. And I think it was very forward thinking of our community leaders back in the 50s to make that decision. A big part of it was to provide facility support. We had a fledgling ballet company and civic theater and Philharmonic that were just developing, needed spaces, in which to perform. And so the development of the Arts Campus was one of the first major drivers of the creation of the organization. And so the development of the campus was a huge project for this community that originally was conceived in the late 50s. Lou Kahn was hired as the architect in 1961. It took the entire decade of the 60s to raise the funds to engage in the project. And then the Arts United Center was constructed and opened in 1973. So it was a long process, but that was one of the initial major drivers of why the Fine Arts Foundation was created. But during that time also began a fund drive to do that United Way for the Arts concept.
Got it.
And so for several decades, that was an important role that Arts United played in that funding role. But over the last 40 years, I would say, Arts United has taken on business services, a shared health insurance program, for instance, that 20-some organizations participate in, a variety of business services.
All to help the arts.
Yeah, absolutely. And the whole goal behind those shared services is to provide services that organizations need where they are. And not every organization needs support with payroll services. They can do that for themselves. But for many organizations, that's a really valuable service. For many organizations, the health insurance is a really valuable service.
Well, I want to talk a little bit about your projects, because you stepped into Arts United during those fundraising campaigns, and I'm going to ask you an unfair question. What are you most proud of of all the things that you have accomplished in your time?
Well, I've been with Arts United for 17 years,
Yeah.
and I will say that during that time, I feel like we've had just tremendous leadership, tremendous staff members. When I started, Jim Sparrow was our chief executive. I followed Susan Mendenhall as chief executive. I feel like both of them were tremendous leaders, but fantastic staff and fantastic board members. You know, we've had just a really well-run organization.
Yeah, but you're being a little humble because you've carried the ball over the line on a couple of projects, right?
Well, and thank you for that. And it's exciting to be in that position. Right?
Yes.
I was honored to be asked to step into that role. And yeah, we had done a lot of work before I became CEO, and a lot of work by a lot of people, a lot of staff members, a lot of board leadership. But yeah, I was honored to be able to step in and lead the team as we finish the project and move across the finish line, because there is a lot of work to do in a major project, as you know.
Right, and so the Our Center was one of the projects. Talk about that one a little bit.
Yeah, so the Our Center, that started when Jim Sparrow was chief executive, and he actually hired me to come in as VP of Community Development to lead the fundraising efforts for that particular campaign. And I was really proud of that, because I felt that really helped to cement the concept of a campus for the arts.
Right.
Just the location of the building right across the street from the Arts United Center and the Museum of Art. Right. It was the former NIPSCO building. The gas company had built it, right? But it was really perfect space for an arts organization.
And the remodeling or the refurbishing of the Arts United Center.
Yeah, and so that was a huge project that was about 10 years in the making, you know, from the time we started feasibility studies and focus groups, looking at what did we really need to achieve, what could we afford to do, how do we navigate those pieces, and then up to when we actually started construction. And so there was that was a long road, again, with a lot of people doing a lot of heavy lifting to get it done. But that's something I'm really proud of, the work that we as a community came together to do to make that happen. This community really steps up where they see a need and where they see value.
Yeah. What do you hope for your successor?
Well, I'm honestly excited for the future of Arts United and what my successor will be able to do. And part of the reason I felt like this is the right time for me to retire, just on a personal level, it's the right time. My wife retired about 1.5 years ago, and it's the right time for us. Yeah. But also for the organization, we finished the big project, the renovation and expansion.
By the way, what does that mean to you personally that you were able to finish that project?
Oh, it's very, very gratifying. Yeah. And just what that building can do for the people of this community and the organizations that utilize it. I'm just really excited about it. When I walk into that building and see the new accessibility features, the upgraded technology, you know, when I walk in that building, I think this building truly is here to serve the people of this community and make arts experiences accessible for all people of the community. That was the goal of that project, and I feel good about the fact that we have in fact achieved that through this project. But you'd ask me about the future, and I just feel like Arts United is poised for the future. And we're engaged in strategic planning right now as an organization. I'll be involved in the early part of that strategic planning, but then pass the baton to that next leader. And hopefully in the fall, that leader will be in place, work with our board, work with our staff for finalizing now what is that plan for what's next. And I feel like there's so much opportunity. The community is thriving, and arts and culture are just a vital component of the success of this community. So I'm excited about the opportunities for my successor.
All right, Dan Ross is the president and CEO of Arts United, and we're glad to have him on the 260. Thank you, Dan.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.